Hey guys, and welcome back. I think this video is going to be shorter than the last one. Last time we were going through a lot of stuff. Today we're only going to look at compound subjects and predicates and coordinating conjunctions. So we'll get an extra part of speech that we haven't done before. We'll be able to make our sentences a little bit more complicated and interesting, and we will understand how to put together compounds, which will be really great for run-on sentences because you punctuate compounds different than you do compound sentences. So let's look at these, how they work, and show you how to put them together. So a compound subject is when two things are doing the same thing. So you could have Bob and Jane. Let's get a little bit more formal than that. I suppose we'll actually write out our words. Come on, I am an English teacher. Bob and Jane swim. We're keeping our verbs pretty simple right now, so it's sometimes hard to come up with sentences that are, in those sort of early reader category. But until we start adding modifiers to our verbs, and they're all going to be like this. So Bob and Jane swim. In this case, Bob and Jane are acting as the subject because they're both doing the same thing. The flip side of that is that let's say we're just Bob, and maybe he does more than one thing, and that's when you have a compound predicate. Bob swims and drowns. That's why you should always swim with a friend. See, Bob and Jane. I don't know where I'm going with that. Okay, Bob swims and drowns. So that's the two things that Bob did. It's all one sentence, one complete thought. So those acts as a predicate, and this acts as a subject. Now the thing that is smushing is not smushing, but connecting these multiple subjects and predicates is your coordinating conjunction and. So let's take a look at what coordinating conjunctions are, and that'll be, we've done nouns, pronouns, and verbs. That'll be your fourth part of speech. So coordinating conjunction. Everybody knows the video from Schoolhouse Rock, even if they haven't seen it, like I haven't. Conjunction, junction, what's your function? Coordinating conjunctions. Coordinating conjunctions. All right. If you're coordinating your outfit and making things go together, that's okay. That's like a coordinating conjunction. The easiest way to remember the actual words that are coordinating conjunctions is fanboys. And that's a mnemonic device that helps you remember it. If you think for, and, nor, but, or, yet, so. So the ones that we're going to be using for compound subjects are going to be mostly and or. So and, or. So let's take a look at what those really do. If you can just keep remembering fanboys, for, and, nor, but, or, yet, so, you can start to put those together. When you're smashing together clauses and stuff, then you start using the other ones. But for the most part, we'll just use and or for now. So you saw those. Bob and Jane swim. He eats or sleeps. If you're choosing between, and it still works the same way grammatically, even though it seems like they're doing two separate things at that point, but it's still grammatically in the sentence, the or is still making it a compound. So let's take a look at how you diagram those. And it actually makes pretty good logical sense. And this is where diagramming starts to get a little bit more fun. Remember last time we just did subject and verb. What we can do is we're going to split our subjects and split our verbs. So let's start with subject. Let's say you had Bob and Jane swim. What you would do is take this little thing here, this little thing here. You got your one subject, Bob, Jane, and then your coordinating conjunction goes along here. It's a little bit hard for me to It's easier to do that on paper because you just turn your paper to the side. Let's just assume that I just wrote and. You know what, actually, just for cheating's sake, we're going to write it up and down so it's easier to read. Technically, you should just turn your diagram to the side so you can write it along the line, but that's fine. So, and Bob and Jane, and then who cares about them swimming anymore? Bob and Jane argue. They're not doing so well. She wants to go swimming, and he doesn't. So Bob and Jane argue. So if you think of it as like almost like electricity or water or something like that, this hose is coming down here and this hose is going up there, and then they come together and they both go to the same verb. It is exactly the same thing when you do a compound predicate. And let's just say that Bob and Jane are still doing the same thing, because you can do that. You can have two subjects doing two verbs as long as they're both acting together. So we still have our line dividing subject from predicate, and we just split the predicate. And we'll continue on. We'll put our little and here. I'll sort of angle it. Bob and Jane argue and reconcile. I wanted to say make up, but then we're up as an adverb and we'd have to know how to do that. So that's how you split subject on the left, predicate on the right. And you can do that, I'm not 100% sure how. I think if you want to do Bob, George, and Jane, so that you've got three subjects there. You can stack them as much as you want. It's not as neat and tidy when you're diagramming that many, but for writing sentences, absolutely do it. So just as a recap, coordinating conjunctions, for and, nor, but, or, yet, so, fanboys, things that you should know. You should know your fanboys. And compound subject and compound predicate. Know those. Have them down. Recognize them when you see them.